Alderperson Virginski is present. If we could have that indicated on the remote. The clerks and Alderperson Zerflu couldn't be here tonight, and I'm not sure about Alderperson Kubishak, who may be joining us later in the meeting. So we'll go ahead and get started. Item number 3 is the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a silent prayer in lieu of invocation. I invite you to please stand. Amen. Thank you. Item 4 on our agenda this evening is the explanation or the visitor speaking procedure. Individuals wishing to address the body may do so only on agenda items appearing before us this evening. If you do wish to address the body, please indicate by raising your hand after discussion has been open on particular items, so that way an alderperson can be identified to yield their time to you. And certainly invite you to the podium to speak for no longer than 5 minutes and to make sure that the microphone is on during that period of time. Okay. Item number 5 is a reading of the minutes of the previous meeting held on December 17th. See attachment number 1 in your packets. And we're going to get the clerk's computer caught up here, so we'll let them. Although, I guess for motions, we probably want to pause until. And I'll also note that Alderperson Kubishak is present for the meeting. Sounds like there might have been a door access issue or something. Hopefully that. Is it still locked? Did I hear? Okay. And I guess just double check to make sure that the doors are still unlocked. Thank you. And do you want to mark him present so that way the remote will work for voting purposes? Great. Thank you. Move on to item 5 on our agenda this evening, which is the reading of the minutes. Alderpersons, what are your wishes regarding that item?
Make a motion to accept the minutes of the previous meeting.
Motion to accept by Koth. Is there a second?
I'll second.
And a second by Kellogg. And are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? As soon as we'll get the. All right. There we go. Now I can see it. Please cast your ballots. Motions to approve the minutes.
Motion carried, 6 ayes, 1 nay. I'm sorry, 1 abstention, and 1 did not. Oh, that's you.
1 abs, yeah. So 7 ayes and 1 nay, right? Or 6 ayes, 1 nay, sorry. No, he's just absent. That's, yeah, 6 ayes and 1 nay.
What I'm seeing is not.
Okay. All right. Thank you. We'll move on to item number 6, which is my report. Good evening, council members, staff, and those here watching from home. The Mayor's Youth Council has opened a call for entries from elementary schools in the city to promote winter-themed awareness events, to promote activities at the Aquatic Center beyond just the summer swim through a snowman contest. So far, the elementary schools of Our Lady Queen of Heaven, St. Vincent's, Grove, and Howe have prepared entries for the Youth Council to judge. Be on the lookout for a community snowman building contest in February, and other project ideas that they're working on are a Skate with Community Leaders event and promoting their fundraising and project at a River Kings game before the end of the season. And tomorrow afternoon, they will meet at the City Garage for a tour and their second of the month meeting. The Beautification Council has taken a pause, but their bird feeder Christmas tree is still up at First Avenue South from across from the former Tribune building. In lieu of a meeting last month, the group was invited to participate in the wayfinding initiative that recently kicked off. Speaking of Corbin, the firm and wayfinding, the firm made their first visit to the city, meeting with a cross-section of community organizations, city staff, and representatives at 3 separate meetings. Additionally, they met with the city's sign shop to review their capabilities and constraints for inclusion of their involvement in the process going forward. Corbin will take their initial visit and feedback to incorporate into their analysis and documentation phase of the work, and will be returning in the coming months with proposed concepts for the city to consider for its trail wayfinding and downtown parking and pedestrian signage. Information as to their future visits will be forthcoming. On Riverfront Park projects, work continues as weather permits in Mead Rapids View and Veterans Parks. The renewed Riverwall railing has been installed in Mead Rapids View, and work will continue, weather permitting, in Veterans Park throughout the coming months and weeks. On the Census 2020, the city clerk and I met with our regional rep to discuss the 2020 census at the end of 2019, and at that meeting we discussed the creation of a complete count committee, which will work to ensure a thorough count gets accomplished here in the city. This is critical to ensure that we get our fair share of federal resources, not to mention the effect that it has on a statewide basis for the purposes of apportionment of congressional seats here in Wisconsin. As of yesterday, only 50% of the total applicants needed have applied to conduct the census in Wood County, and so I'll make a call out and a pitch to remind folks into wishing to work for the U.S. Census. The pay is between $17 and $24 per hour, and folks can visit 2020census.gov for more information and to apply for a census taker or one of the other many jobs that are being seasonally created as a result of the federal government's 2020 census. On economic development, we continue to engage with prospects on the various retail vacancies and the city's redevelopment projects, both downtown and elsewhere in the city. In the category of employee anniversaries, retirements, in recognition, 30-year category, Dennis Volk, a truck driver in the DPW or Streets Division, Stephen Belter, lieutenant and motor pump operator within the fire department. For 25-year anniversary, Joel Fluellen, a lieutenant in the police department. 15-year anniversary, Justin Borski, a motor pump operator and paramedic in the fire department. And in the 5-year category, Travis Plowman, now within the police department and formerly within community media, and Ben Grimm, a city inspector with the community development department. Since our last meeting, the Chamber of Commerce has conducted a ribbon cutting with the City Times at their new location at the corner of Lincoln and the Expressway, and Mimi's Quilting Cottage, which is a new business that opened on West Grand Avenue. In the category of attended, hosted, and participated, yesterday I participated in the Green Tier Legacy Communities quarterly meeting, which discusses topics, trends, and ideas within the sustainability area. The city is a member of this cohort amongst a number of other Wisconsin cities and counties, which is coordinated by the Wisconsin DNR and the League of Wisconsin Cities. A couple of weeks ago, participated in the Urban Alliance of Wisconsin Cities quarterly meeting, which is presently focused discussing on various strategies to exploring alternatives to our reliance on local property tax in Wisconsin, to promote additional opportunities and diverse revenue streams for government finance, and considering legislative approaches to alternatives at a time when the legislature and the governor have quite differing opinions on potentially how to raise revenue and funding government. Also participated in the Wisconsin Rapids Public Schools suicide briefing, annual Rafters Hot Stove Rendezvous, discussed senior programming and such with the Wisconsin Rapids Area Senior Association, held a Mayor's Monday episode with WSAU Radio in the 2B or currently under constructed YMCA Boys and Girls Club. Check that out to see some of the tremendous progress that project is making. Also participated in the Chamber Leadership Panel with Senator Teston and Grand Rapids Town Chairman Nystrom to talk about the various leadership aspects within local government and state government, I guess. Hosted Assumption 7th graders here with a visit, thanks to the clerk's assistance with that, where we conducted a mock council meeting earlier in the month, and finally attended the United Way of Inter-Wisconsin campaign celebration as they acknowledged and commemorated community members for the support of the United Way campaign annual event. And finally, invite residents to attend one of the Coffee with the Mayor sessions on Saturday, February 8th at Duncan And that concludes my report. Item 7, consider a resolution declaring June 6th and September 13th, 2020 as World Migratory Bird Days for the City of Wisconsin Rapids. See attachment number 2 in your packets. And I understand we've got some members of the Bird City group in attendance here tonight, and would ask if they'd like to come, if a council member wishes to yield time to them to briefly speak about this particular. Alderperson Blazer yields time. Yeah, if you'd like to come to the podium, and as you know the routine, just make sure the microphone is on, introduce yourself for the record, and share your comments with us.
Thank you for giving Bird City a little time of your time tonight. I'm Clara Kabishik, and I saw an article years ago about Bird City being a program for Wisconsin cities, and I thought Rapids was big enough to be a part of that program, so I started the initiative. It's really a combination of working with Audubon and also with the Wisconsin DNR. And our report goes in, it went in today actually. We have to do an extensive report every year. And it went in today to the Wisconsin DNR, and it doesn't just evaluate what we're doing for birds. It evaluates a lot of your sustainable practices, your environmental impact for the city, and it's a good check for the DNR to get a free report back. So I think it's very effective. It's citizens doing something in the community to make a difference. There's an estimate that there's been a 30% decline in the bird population, and I'm not sure if that's in the United States or internationally. But that's a sharp drop, and I don't know what the time period is. But we do know that we're losing a lot of species, and partly because of climate change, partly because of habitat loss, sometimes diseases because of warming conditions. So there is a big change, and I don't look at this as being a desperate situation. There are many people who are working to improve habitat and environment. There's a huge group of volunteers that are doing censuses and counts and checking on the birds and other species to make sure that they continue to survive. So I think we are in a pretty good position. When we filled out our report, we have to fill out 20 different things and show that we are doing those things in Wisconsin Rapids. We had 29 points. And also we had to have 6 points that were worth, each point was, like each problem was worth 2 points. So we needed a total of 6. And we had 10 points that were worth 2 points each. So I thought we did quite well. We're kind of bringing the numbers up. And there's a lot of people that work with Bird City. We're part of Clean Green Action. We worked with the school district. I get a report from the gardening clubs. You know, and I figured we have about 10 to 12 groups that we're working with. And we also have had a wonderful cooperation from the city staff and from Mayor Bruing. So we do get a lot of support. One of the biggest problems is cats. Cats are the #1 predators of birds. They figure 10 million feral and domestic cats kill 2.6 billion birds and annually, and billions of small animals, because cats are natural predators. And they do not necessarily do it for food. They do it because they are killers. I mean, that's their instinct. So I've developed a list of 5 ideas where you could give us help with new ordinances to help us on some of our projects. And one of them is trying to control feral cats. But also domestic cats. You do have some rules about domestic cats, because if they're not limited, they will kill just as easily as a feral cat, even though they're well fed. So I live out in the rural area. I'm not actually a city resident. But we get cats dropped off. I've rescued several because people don't want to take care of them. They're irresponsible owners of cats, and it's really irritating. Little kittens that can't survive on their own, and I pick them up and take them to a farm that I know that will try to help them, but it's disgusting. So, but these are the things that happen. What we've done in the past, and I'm giving you a sheet that I've printed off. On one side, there is a list of things that were projects for this year. And our biggest one is to look at putting a camera in the museum, one of the museum chimneys. They have 3 of them, where we can watch chimney swifts. And maybe have an event where people can come and observe the chimney swifts, I'll get it right, flying into the chimney at the end of the evening. So we're working on that project. And we've been working on the Lincoln Woodlot for a long time. And it's kind of slow because the teachers don't have a lot of extra time, but it's a cooperative effort. We help them get grants, and we financed getting a kiosk. We've planted a prairie. We've got identification signs, and we're still working on it. So we would like to have an opening of the woodlot so people feel that they are welcome to use the woodlot for their own purpose. They do it already, but we're going to try to make it more noticeable. We took part in the Christmas bird count. And we've got bluebird houses that were given to us by Lincoln High School. So, and we work with 3 big activities. The first one would be the Prairie Chicken Festival, which is in April. And then in June, the first Saturday of June, we work with the Kiwanis Youth Outdoor Day. And then in September, we do a display at the Grand Fair. So those are 3 of our big occasions. And we've talked about working perhaps with the city parks and maybe doing a special program for children or working with businesses. So we're trying to get outreach so we can teach people more about birds. Do you have any questions for me? No. Did you pass out the sheets? Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Clara. Any, I guess, any discussion or requests to speak, alderpersons, on the attachment? Alderperson Blazer? Or maybe that was your yielding time. Any other requests or conversation? See no requests to speak. I'd entertain a motion. Alderperson Blazer?
I'll make that motion to adopt the resolution.
Motion by Blazer and a second by Koth. Any discussion? See no requests to speak. Motions to approve. Please cast your ballots.
Motion carried, 6 ayes, 1 nay.
Thank you. Item number 8, consideration of appointments to the Ethics Board for terms expiring November 1st, 2021 as follows. Item A is an alderperson member to fill a vacancy, of which there's none listed, and we'll take an appointment. Item B, which is Brian Fisher, 341 18th Street North, and item C, Doug Mahan, 845th Street South. Alderpersons, is there a nomination to fill an alderperson member on the vacancy? Alderperson Kubaschak?
I nominate Mr. Joe Zerflu.
And he's already an alternate. Make him the primary member. All right. Is there any other nominations? Seeing no additional nominations, I'd entertain a motion to close nominations and cast unanimous ballot for those. Can we do that for the other 2 appointments as well? We'll take them up separately. Yeah, we should take an alternate. Okay, so we'll close nominations unless there's a nomination for an alternate alderperson. Should probably fill that spot if there's someone willing to serve as an alternate.
I'll nominate Alderperson Blazer
As
for
an
alternate.
Great, thank you. See no additional requests to speak, we'll go ahead and close nominations. And I'd call for a motion to cast unanimous ballot for, can we lump them all for the package there? So Alderperson Zerflu as the primary, Blazer as the alternate, and then the other 2 individuals listed.
I'll make a motion to accept unanimous ballot.
Great, we got a motion by Coth. Is there a second? Second by Catnaw. Any requests to speak? Seeing none, the motion's to approve. Please cast your ballots.
Motion carried, 7 ayes, 0 nays.
Thank you. Item 9, consider for adoption the actions of the standing committees of the Common Council as follows. Oh, I was actually packaging the whole thing, but. Yeah, is anybody else misunderstood in the motion? Okay, that was for the package, okay. No problem. Item A is Finance and Property Committee meeting held on January 7th, 2020. And we'll move to Alderperson Coth to walk us through the Finance and Property Committee meeting.
Thank you, Your Honor. The Property and Finance Committee met at 4:45 PM on Tuesday, January 7th, 2020, in the first floor conference room. All committee members were present. List of others in attendance is on file with the clerk's office. Item 2 was review and consider approval of 2020 Mass Transit Operating Capital Grant Application and Budget Request. It was moved by Catnaw, seconded by Coth to approve the 2020 State of Wisconsin Department of Transportation Mass Transit Operating Capital Grant Application. Motion carried. Item number 3 was consider a request from the Finance Department to purchase a folder/inserter machine. It was moved by Blazer, seconded by Coth to approve the purchase of a NeoPost DS64i inserter with 2 feed stations at a cost of $8,427. Motion carried. Item number 4 was consider a Class B beer license for the Central Wisconsin Cultural Center Incorporated, located at 320 West Grand Avenue, Suite 104, for an art exhibit open to be held on January 16th, 2020, from 5:30 PM to 7:30 PM. It was moved by Coth, seconded by Catnaw to approve the temporary Class B beer license for the Central Wisconsin Cultural Center Incorporated, located at 320 West Grand Avenue, Suite 104, for an art exhibit open to be held on January 16th, 2020, from 5:30 PM to 7:30 PM. Motion carried. Item number 5 was consider a request from Wisconsin Apple LLC, doing business as Applebee's, Kent D. Billingsley, agent, for a Class B beer and a Class B liquor license for the premises located at 4311 A Street South. It was moved by Coth, seconded by Blazer, to approve a Class B beer and Class B liquor license for the Wisconsin Apple LLC, doing business as Applebee's, Kent D. Billingsley, agent, for the premises located at 4311 8th Street South. Motion carried. Item number 6 was consider a request from the Founders Collection 2 LLC, doing business as the Hotel Mead, Timothy Holsworth, agent, for a Class B beer and Class B liquor license for the premises located at 451 East Grand Avenue. Motion by Coth, seconded by Catnaw, to approve the Class B beer and Class B liquor license for the Founders Collection 2 LLC, doing business as the Hotel Mead, Timothy Holsworth, agent, for the premises located at 451 East Grand Avenue. Motion carried. Item number 7 is review and consider approval of the proposed scope for fundraising development with the city's capital campaign. It was moved by Catnaw, seconded by Coth, for the city to seek proposals to assist with fundraising strategy development for the Aquatic Recreation Center capital program, specifically to review and update the outreach plan, revise and prepare fundraising documents, and to develop donor recognition within the facility. In addition, the scope will include assistance with outreach meetings and fundraising. Motion carried. Item number 8 was review and approve proposals to purchase 1-ton pickup trucks. It was moved by Coth, seconded by Blazer, to approve the purchases of 1 crew cab 1-ton 2-wheel drive with stainless dump box and 1 regular 1-ton 2-wheel drive with stainless dump box from Johnson & Sons at a cost of $87,276. Motion carried. Item number 9 was review and proposals to purchase 1 half-ton pickup trucks. It was moved by Catnaw and seconded by Coth to approve the purchase of 2 four-wheel drive crew cab 1/2 ton pickups and 1 four-wheel drive 1/2 ton pickup truck with extended cab from Wheelers at a cost of $88,126.50. Motion carried. Item number 10 was an audit of the bills. It was moved by Coth, seconded by Catnaw to approve check number 1908 to 2269. Motion carried. Item number 11 was beverage operator licenses. It was moved by Coth, seconded by Blazer to approve the beverage operator licenses. List for those approved is attached. Item number 12 was to set the next meeting date. The next meeting date of the Property Finance Committee meeting is scheduled for February 4th, 2020 at 4:45 PM. Item number 13 was adjournment. It was moved by Coth, seconded by Catnaw to adjourn. The meeting adjourned at 5:27 PM. With that, I have one correction to the minutes, and that's in item number 6. It's missing the word beer behind Class B in the sentence there. And I would make a motion to approve this report with holding out item number 7.
A motion to approve by Coth with the exception of item 7. Is there a second? Second by Catnaw. Are there any requests to speak? Alderperson Virginski, you're first. If you could just make sure your microphone. Scott.
At this time for the,
Tim, do you want to address the question? It was specific to the depreciation, the balance of the depreciation account. Is that correct, Alderperson Virginski? The balance of it.
Well, first of all, the wastewater treatment, since they're a separate utility and funded by the sewer use fee, they're becoming separated. We're actually kind of segregating them out of the fleet maintenance account so that they'll have, because now that they're an enterprise fund, we're depreciating that as part of the financial process and financial reporting. The balance of the fleet maintenance account, I don't really have it's right around $800,000, so there's sufficient funds to fund the purchase of these 2 trucks or these vehicles.
Thank you. Are there any other requests to speak? Seeing no further requests to speak, we've got a motion and a second on the floor to approve the report with the exception of item 7. Please cast your ballots. Okay.
Motion carried, 7 ayes, 0 nays.
That leaves item 7, which is the review and consideration of approval of the proposed scope for the fundraising development with the city's capital campaign. Alderpersons, what are your wishes regarding that item? Are there any requests to speak, I guess? Alderperson Coth, you're first.
Around this item, I just want to be clear that I guess there was some confusion on this, that people that are already potentially going to donate to the pool aren't going to be asked to donate to the pool from a outside person that we hire, just for verbiage clarification.
Sure. So I think the minutes of the meeting, there was some additional scope that was added to that, if I recall, at the committee discussion, and that was, in addition, the scope will include assistance with outreach meetings and fundraising. So that's, I think that was the additional scope that was added, if I'm not mistaken. Alderperson Catnaw, did you have you're next on the speaking order?
Yeah. You're done. Yeah, so just to expand on that a little bit, the thought there is not that we would be hiring a firm out to do the fundraising and we wouldn't be involved and completely hands-off. It would be more to assist with the fundraising and the meetings and the outreach. So I would just like to clarify that. I mean, it would still be the expectation that city staff would be reaching out, holding these meetings, not that we're completely going hands-off. But I do think that this is something that will help get the fundraising going, and hopefully we'll see more success with it than we have previously. And again, this is just for receiving a proposal. This isn't anything we need to move forward with. I would just like to see what that scope is, what the cost is, and before we move forward with anything.
Thank you. Are there any other requests to speak? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion on the item.
Make a motion to approve item 7.
Motion by Koth, is there a second? Second by Katna to solicit proposals on the proposed scope that's been identified. Any further requests to speak? Seeing none, please cast your ballots.
Motion carried, 7 ayes, 0 nays.
Thank you. Item 9B is Public Works Committee meeting held January 7th, 2020. Alderperson Kubaschak, the floor is yours.
Thank you. The Public Works Committee met on Tuesday, January 7th, 2020, in the first floor conference room at City Hall. Thaddeus Kubaschak, Tom Rayom, and Vernon Virginski were present. Others attending are on file in the clerk's office. Item number 1, call to order. Meeting was called to order at 6 p.m. Item number 2, review and consider approval of design services for the design of West Jackson Street DOT project ID number 699911-0878 between West Riverview Expressway and Jackson Street Bridge. Motion by Rayom to accept the Strand proposal for design services for West Jackson Street DOT project between West Riverview Expressway and the Jackson Street Bridge. There was no second. Motion by Kubaschak to accept the Quest proposal for design services for the West Jackson Street DOT project between West Riverview Expressway and Jackson Street Bridge. There was no second. No action was taken on that item. Item number 3, review and consider referral by Alderperson Blazer for an approval of an intergovernmental agreement with the Airport Commission to allow city water and sewer services to the new hangar and any future developments owned and operated by the Airport Commission. Motion by Kubaschak, second by Virginski, to send a referral to the Airport Commission requesting the commission submit options for obtaining city services provided, for obtaining city-provided public services desired by the commission. Motion carried 3-0. Item number 4, review and consider a referral by Alderperson Rayom for a reconsideration of the entire city council meeting held on Tuesday, November 19, 2019, and the Public Works meeting held that evening at 5:30 p.m. and the entire committee meetings be held on Thursday before the Tuesday meeting. Alderperson Rayom requested that this item be disposed and no further action was taken. Item number 5, review and consider a referral by Alderperson Rayom for the Public Works and Finance Departments to study different ways to assess residents for installation of streets, sewer, sidewalks, and curb and gutter, etc. Motion by Rayom, second by Kubaschak, to add to the referral list a referral by Alderperson Rayom for the Public Works and Finance Departments to study for different ways to assess residents for the installation of streets, sewer, sidewalk, curb and gutter, etc. Motion carried 3-0. Item number 6, review and consider a referral by Alderperson Rayom for a modification to the committee agenda item referral process. The chairperson indicated the referral will be added to the referral list. Item number 7, review and consider referral by Alderperson Virginski for reconsideration of yellow turn signals at various intersections in the city. No action was taken. Item number 8, the Director of Public Works report was offered, and an annual report was offered as well. The Director of Public Works report was reviewed. Item number 9, referral list was reviewed. Item number 10 was adjournment. Motion by Rayom, second by Virginski to adjourn at 8:25 p.m. Motion carried 3-0. And with that, I don't have any holdouts. I'll make a motion to approve the Public Works report.
We have a motion to approve the report as it's presented and a second. I guess I would call if there's any, we've got a request to speak from Koth and Alderperson Rayom. Alderperson Rayom, I'm assuming you're wanting to hold an item out? Or Steve? Okay. You want to go first?
I was going to ask if we could hold out item number 2 on the report, please.
Is there any objections to withholding item 2 from the report? Hearing no objection, that leaves the balance of the report. Are there any additional requests to speak on the balance of the report? Seeing no requests to speak, the motion is to approve the report with the exception of item number 2. Please cast your ballots.
Motion carried, 7 ayes, 0 nays.
Alderpersons, that leaves us with a review and consideration approval of design services for the design of West Jackson Street. The attorney listed a note within the agenda that the council may consider this at the end of the meeting if it wishes to in closed session, in which I would call for a motion if there's a desire to do that. If there is, to be sure to specify that in your motion. Alderpersons, what are your wishes regarding this item? Alderperson Coth?
I'll make a motion to go into closed session at the end of the regular meeting.
The motion is to withhold and pick up this item at the tail end of the council meeting. Is there a second? Second by Rayom. Are there any requests to speak? See no requests to speak. The motion, as you're aware, is to hold this item out until the very end of the meeting. Please cast your ballots.
Motion carried, 4 ayes, 3 nays.
Thank you. We'll move into item 9C, which is the Human Resources Committee meeting held on January 14th, 2020. Alderperson Blazer, the floor is yours.
The Human Resource Committee met at 4:45 on Tuesday, January 14th, in the first floor conference room at City Hall. Alderpersons Blazer and Zerflu were present. Alderperson Kellogg was excused. All other persons are listed at the clerk's office. Item 1, the meeting was called to order at 4:46 p.m. First item of business was review the current assessment technician position and consider modifications thereto as a result of an upcoming retirement. Consider and approve a position description and compensation for that position, if modified. Motion by Zerflu, second by Blazer, to approve the administrative technician job description as presented with the changes, the change will assist the permitting process and support other community development activities. This will be a 40-hour week position with compensation at grade 5. And also there was a change, can you help me real quick, Sue? Oh, it's just to add in an associate's degree in place of a high school diploma. But there's also a work experience. I can pull it up here. Where is it? Here it is. Associate degree in business administration, administrative assistant, secretarial science or related field. 2 years of increasingly responsible secretarial experience, preferably in real estate or appraisal-related field, or any combination of education experience that provides equivalent knowledge, skills, and abilities. Motion carried 2-0. See that attached description. Where am I? Consider, the next item of business was consider a change to the sick paid leave policy, removing the requirement that an employee must use 1 week of sick leave or paid leave before the city provides paid leave for a second week of family member leave. Motion by Zerflu, seconded by Blazer, to approve the sick and paid leave policy changes as presented. Motion carried 2-0. Received an update on recruitment by Mayor Verwink and HR interim consultant Deb, is it Pagel? Presented that update. Item 5 was motion by Blazer, seconded by Zerflu, to go into closed session pursuant to section 19.85, parent 1, parent C of the Wisconsin State Statutes, which reads, considering an employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction, or exercises responsibility. Roll call vote was taken. Both members voted in the affirmative, and that motion carried 2-0. In closed session, the committee discussed compensation and benefits for an employee. Motion by Zerflu, seconded by Blazer to return to open session. Motion carried 2-0. Item 6, motion by Zerflu, seconded by Blazer to make no changes to the compensation for the employee. That motion carried 2-0. Item 7 was motion by Zerflu, seconded by Blazer to go into closed session under section 19.85, parent 1, parent E of the Wisconsin State Statute, which reads, deliberating or negotiating the purchase of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. Roll call was taken. Both members voted in the affirmative. Motion carried 2-0. In closed session, the committee received an update and discussed strategies regarding negotiation, possible interest arbitration with International Association of Firefighters, Local 425. Motion by Zerflu, second by Blazer to adjourn in closed session. Motion carried 2-0. Meeting adjourned at 6:03 p.m. And if nobody wants to hold anything out, I'll make a motion to adopt the report.
A motion by Blazer to approve the report, second by Coth. Alderperson Rayom, did you have a request to hold an item out?
Just a question, I guess, to
Okay.
start with would be. Let's see. It's on number 2, and Shane, I didn't catch your comments, maybe I think that you made at first there. The change that was made, that was after the meeting that was done? Was this part of the draft?
Right, that's a recommended change after the meeting. It is contained in yellow in your packet, the language that's recommended to be made.
Okay, yeah,
It originally just said high school diploma, and that was an oversight not to have made that change to it. So that's something that we would request be an additional change to what was
okay.
Proposed at the HR meeting, but as I said, what you were given does have that language in yellow to highlight
Right.
it, so you can decide.
Okay, correct, or that's what I see anyway. I guess the question I have with that then is, though, that this being different than what was at the meeting, and the pay grade that was agreed upon at the meeting was with the wording from before. Now, this wording here is a lot more, well, stringent isn't the right word, but more qualifications, we'll use that. So my question would be is, so is the pay grade that was agreed upon with the former wording, is that pay grade, is that what it should be with this new wording? Is that going to attract the type of candidates that we want? Because it's quite a difference in what was in the draft that the committee passed versus what the wording is that's being approved, looked at being approved here this evening. So that's the question I had, and as I looked at it before the meeting, and the pay grade that was talked about that night and that's in here, does that measure up to what was changed? And maybe this was the intent of what to have at the meeting, but it wasn't. So I just have to raise the question, is that comparable for what is in the qualifications here? Is the pay grade, is it what it should be?
I would say that it is, and we also, the interim HR consultant agreed that this was something that, it was just basically missed, that the educational requirement should have been enhanced somewhat, although, as it says, it's not actually a requirement, because you can have a combination of education experience that could have some equivalent, makes you have equivalent skills and abilities. So, but she maintains, and I would agree, that the compensation level would be the same, and that's similar to other administrative assistants positions and other department assistant positions in the city. So I would say that it would be the same.
I just had to bring that up. If the committee, I guess, is agreeable with that, I'll go along with it. It's just that the wording to me was a lot stronger than what the draft originally was, and that's why I had a question. The pay grade would be equal to.
Thank you. Are there any other requests to speak? Seeing none, the motion and the second on the floor is to approve the report as it's presented. Please cast your ballots.
Motion carried, 7 ayes, 0 nays.
Thank you. Item 10 is reports of other committees, commissions, and boards, departmental reports. Item A is the Housing Authority held October 30th and November 27th. Item B, the Wisconsin Rapids Fire Department monthly summary for December. Item C, the Mayor's Youth Council held December 11th. Item D, the Waterworks and Lighting Commission held December 11th and December 16th. Item E, the Southwood County Airport Commission held December 12th and January 2nd. Item F, the McMillan Memorial Library meeting held December 18th. Item G, the Police and Fire Commission meeting held January 8th. And item H, the Wastewater Treatment Commission held January 8th. Alderpersons, what are your wishes regarding those reports?
Make a motion to accept the balance of the reports.
Motion by Koth and a second by Kellogg. Are there any requests to speak? Seeing no requests to speak, the motion is to approve the reports in their entirety. Please cast your ballots.
Motion carried, 6 ayes, 1 nay.
Thank you. Move on to item 11 before moving back up to the other item, which is the reading of written referrals of communication to committees. Madam Clerk.
There are 2 referrals, both from Alderperson Kellogg. One is to the Finance and Property Committee to develop a method to reduce the cost of police overtime for the taxpayer. This is a referral from the September meeting to be looked at in this spring. The other one is a referral for the Public Works Committee. The city has approved relining Chestnut Street from Lincoln Street to 8th Street. This request is to place a yellow dash median stripe on Chestnut from Hill Street to Lincoln Street in front of Assumption School.
And the staff referrals for the Public Works Committee were sent to Chairman Kubaschak this evening, and he certainly can, I don't know if we need to review them at the meeting here tonight, but those will be advanced to the clerk's office upon his review. Are there any other referrals? Alderperson Blazer?
Just, I guess, to follow up or make sure, I received an email from the city engineer, Joe Eichstead, regarding a street lighting request to be placed on the Public Works agenda. He had forwarded myself and the chairman of the committee an email for that.
And that's at a cul-de-sac, if I'm not
Correct.
mistaken? And that
Correct.
was in the batch, so I think that one is.
Okay, great.
Is included in that. You'll have to
Thank
just
you.
double check that. Alderperson Virginski? Can you make sure your microphone is on again? Would you mind making sure the microphone?
But the information we got from this lady here this evening and the resolution that we received in our packet is different. And I think there's probably a violation or a conflict between our ordinance and what was submitted here this evening. I would just like to see someone on the city staff research that and make sure that we don't have a conflict here before we go ahead and implement some of these procedures.
And as a point of clarification, I think there was, the only action that was being sought from the city tonight was what was in the packet, which was the resolution. This was the group's planned efforts that are separate from any formal city action or adoption this evening. If I'm not mistaken, it was more of an FYI to hear this is what the group is involved in versus the resolution which was in our packets, and that's what was approved this evening, or was requested for approval. So it is separate, but if there is any conflict, we'll certainly share that, but seeing a head nod in the back that was the requested action, was the resolution that was before our body tonight. All right. Any other referral of communication to committee? I think there's a number of referrals that are being worked through staff on finance as well, and those will be sent here in the next day or so, if I'm not mistaken, to Chairman Koth on that. And for everyone's benefit, I think the HR meeting is being tentatively set for February, is it 11th? February 11th, and that's a Tuesday before our 18th council meeting. HR on the 11th.
Correct, if there are items.
If there are items.
Yep.
And finance is set to meet next Tuesday, is that right?
Yes.
Just double checking for everyone's
then-
benefit.
We're also, we're also discussing on the 11th of having a legislative meeting to try to clean up some of the items. And we have an item that we do need to get taken care of regarding wells.
Oh, right. Great, thank you. Now we'll move back to item 9B2, the review and consideration approval of design services for the design of West Jackson Street, DOT project 69991108878 between West Riverview Expressway and Jackson Street Bridge. Attorney's note, the council may vote to go into closed session at this time or at the end of the meeting under section 19.85, parent 1, parent E of the Wisconsin statutes, which reads deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, investing in public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. In order to discuss the bids and negotiations regarding design services, the council will return to open session after the closed session if it does go into closed session. Alderpersons, what are your wishes regarding item number 2?
Make a motion to go into closed session.
A motion to go into closed by Koth. Is there a second? Second by Katna. Are there any requests to speak? Seeing no request, we'll capture the roll call vote by pressing your vote button on your remote, so please cast your ballots.
Motion carried, 5 ayes, 2 nays.
All right, we're officially in closed session, so if everyone in the room and the audience could please make their way out, and we'll give everyone just a quick minute. Between West Riverview Expressway and Jackson Street Bridge. Alderpersons, what are your wishes regarding that particular item? Alderperson Koth? Make sure your microphone's on. Thank you. Again, now this time.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to make a motion to proceed with a contract with Strand for the design services consistent with the proposal. If in working towards the contract, there were anything that's materially different, then the contract will need to come back to council for approval.
A motion by Koth, is there a second? I have a second by Kellogg. We'll move into requests to speak. Are there any requests to speak on the particular motion? Seeing no requests to speak, please cast your ballots. Everyone's clear on the motion, or do you want the clerk to review the motion?
Motion carried, 4 ayes, 2 nays.
All right, thank you for working through that particular item, and that leaves us with item 12, adjournment. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Coth, second by Blazer. All in favor? Any opposed? The ayes have it. We stand adjourned. Thank you and have a great evening.